week of Daily Words here on the Vineyard Tallinn YouTube channel. I'm Tim, and I want to tell a story, as I tend to do in these videos. And this is something that came to me on a bike ride probably 1 or 2 months ago, in the last couple of months, and I basically want to unpack what I felt during that ride, and it leads to 2 verses at the end, which probably aren't necessarily always put together when you think of Bible verses, but actually this was kind of the journey God took me on as I was cycling. And I want to talk about comparison and the danger and the challenge of comparison. I think it's all around us. I think even out on a bike, you kind of get this, you either catch someone up or someone races past you, and there's this little tinge of thought. And actually, as this was happening, I wanted to share this little story of kind of a vision I saw. So I want you to imagine with me a bench. So we're sitting on a bench and we're observing cyclists as they come past us. Now, this bench is right next to a house, and what the house marks is the start of a flat period in a very hilly and mountainous region. So there have been hill climbs, and for the cyclists, when they get to this house, they know that they've got a little bit of an easy run coming. It's a flat run all the way to a village, a town that's about a kilometre ahead before it starts climbing again. And we're on this bench, just after this house, we're on this bench, and we see cyclists come past, and we observe two cyclists coming. So the first one that gets to us is this older looking guy, a little bit frail, not too frail, he's cycling, but not a lot to him, not a lot of muscle, covered in sweat. Evidently the strain of the hills, it's getting to him. He's huffing and puffing, but determined, and moving past us, drips, his t-shirt dripping, soaked through. And as he passes us at the bench, we see it coming. We see the second cyclist coming. And we've all been this probably. If you've cycled around Tallinn, you've been this first cyclist, and you've seen this second cyclist come past you. And this is a younger man, possibly a middle-aged man in his lycra, as they sometimes call it. But he's got the gear, and he's streaming past. Doesn't seem to be any sweat on him, and comes past, and doesn't seem to be breaking stride. Doesn't seem to be struggling. Doesn't show any strain as he races past on this. For this older man, and kind of obviously the natural thing, the thing that happens in the world is we compare, we look at it, and we see those two symbols, and we kind of in our understanding, we know the different quality between the two cyclists. Maybe we place ourselves somewhere between the two, and this is a thing that goes on constantly. Everything we do, whether it's in life, in how we parent, how we work, how we do at school, this whole comparison thing is going on continuously, and so much so that this whole story came to me as I'm out on a bike ride. You're either trying to get quicker than someone, or you're wondering why someone races past you so quickly. And actually, what I felt the Holy Spirit wanted to talk to me about through that journey, and actually through today's daily word, is just putting a little bit of perspective on this, because in this picture I just saw, what I want to now expand on a little bit is on this bench that we're sitting on. We've just seen these two cyclists come past. This is the first flat piece after 4 consecutive hill climbs. So this road has come up a long way, and the first cyclist we saw is 4 hours into a 6-hour cycle. So this guy has been going at it. He's just done the 4 hills back to back without a break. And he's got 2 more hours to go before he reaches his destination. He's a long distance endurance cyclist. And the first guy, the second guy we saw, this younger guy, has just left the house that is next door to this bench. So he's actually literally just started his bike ride. He's not done any hills. He's only going into town, which is 1 kilometre ahead. So he's racing, and in that little scenario, I know it's obviously this made up scenario, but this is a scenario that the Holy Spirit took me on. It gives us a totally different image of those 2 cyclists that pass us on that bench. Gone is this kind of the view that the second guy is the macho, the strong, the altogether thing, and the first guy is this weak stroking guy, and suddenly it changes the picture. It's almost Another comparison came. It'll be like seeing Usain Bolt and Mo Farah, or someone like that. Mo Farah is this Olympic marathon champion, and got the world record for that. But if you saw them sprinting at a point, maybe it was a 100-meter race. Obviously, Usain Bolt would be the fast guy zooming past the marathon runner, and it would look like the second guy, the marathon runner, wasn't really a good athlete because he's easily beaten. But so this brings me to this first verse that I want to look at, and this is what the story really leads to. It's from Hebrews 12, verse 1, and the verse is this: "Therefore, since we are surrounded by such a great cloud of witnesses, let us throw off everything that hinders and the sin that so easily entangles, and let us run with perseverance the race marked out for us." So it's this element of a race being marked out. The comparison works in a way where we are comparing not things evenly, we're comparing things in a moment, and we have no understanding of the story or the journey or the race behind that moment. And so in this analogy of the cyclist, it would be absolutely wrong to compare those two cyclists at that point where we're sitting on the bench, because one guy has been going at it for 4 hours and the other guy has just started. So to think the second guy is this all-powerful, fast cyclist who doesn't sweat, it's just ridiculous. He's just early into his journey. And equally, to say that second guy, because he's only just started, isn't a serious cyclist, again, would be wrong because he's early into his journey. But you get the picture. I think, and this verse came to mind on this bike journey, and I underline the word hinder. So that in the NIV it has, in Hebrews, this word hinder, actually the comparison hinders us. It gets in the way and it messes up, because what it does, it gives us a picture of something that isn't the full picture. So I would encourage you, any comparison, whether I do it, I find myself comparing myself with other authors, people who've published maybe the same number of books or less books, and you hear that they're selling, much more, or doing this and doing that. And it is hard. And obviously, what I think the Spirit wanted to talk to me about on this bike journey, and what I want to talk to you about today, is this sense of this idea that there's a race marked out for you. Now, if you take a parent planning a little course or a challenge for their children, the father just thinks up this course, thinks up this track, and with delight marks out a track that's suitable for each of the children. Now, if you've got children at different ages, you don't expect them to run the same race, but you want them to run the race that you've marked for them. And actually, how much more with God should we look to run the race that He's marked for us? Because if He's marked it out, it means He's thought about it. He's thought about the ups and the downs. He's thought about the challenges. He's thought about the things that will thrill us. And of course, there is no one course, one race that would work for everybody. So I just want to leave that with you. God has marked something out for you, where to comparison, what that tends to do, it tends to compare. It tends to take you to a place that isn't for you. So I want to release you from that today. And of course, Hebrews 12 itself comes on the back of Hebrews 11. This great chapter on faith, and here we are. The following chapter talking about running the race that God has marked for you. So that's important. And the second verse. So as I finished this bike ride, we were cycling around to Haven in Kakelmeyer, the harbour, and this the verse from Psalm 23, verse 2. At the end of it, it says, "He leads me beside still waters." Now, what was remarkable on this day, as I was at that little harbour, was in the little marina, the water was still, but actually the sea in the bay itself, beyond the walls, was quite rough. And I'd never realised that before. So I guess in that moment, I always thought still waters meant that He will make the sea still, and to be on a calm and gentle, still, like restful ocean or lake or sea. That's what it means. But actually, I kind of saw another element to that verse, and I want to encourage you today with that. So there's a sense of like a harbour, a hemming in. So the Bible does never promise to make all things easy and all things calm and gentle, but actually he promised to lead you beside still water. So on this day, after God spoke to me about comparison and not comparing myself, he led me to beside still waters. Now, yeah, and so the rest of the beach, the rest of Stromy, I guess, was wavy and quite wavy. It was a bit of a windy day. This was a couple of months ago, but the harbour itself was crystal clear, and it was the wall that did that. It was just harbour wall. And so I want to encourage you today, as you throw away comparison, as you put that aside, to allow God to hem you in, and it's this hemming in, this wall of protection. And the promise isn't that everything will be smooth all around the world. We're surrounded by all these challenges and this difficult time, but actually he promises to lead you beside still waters. So let him be your harbour. Let him be that harbour or that protection today. I'm going to quickly pray. Heavenly Father, thank you that you are the Holy Spirit who speaks to us. You are the God who speaks. I pray that there is no comparison. I pray as we find those challenges of where we're looking down on ourselves, it's usually that way around. It's not usually pride that lifts us up beyond others. It's usually this sense of failing that we feel we're just not doing as well. Lord, thank you that you have a race marked for each of us. And I pray that would become evident and clear, and we would in our hearts settle for that and settle for your race. But equally, that you would lead us all beside still waters, Lord. You would be that hem of protection, that wall that hems us in and allows the water, Lord, in the marina around our life to be still, even when the waves are rough outside. Amen. Thank you for watching. Sorry it's been a little bit longer than maybe normal, but I really hope the imagery and the pictures have worked. And I will be back next week for another Daily Word. Bye-bye.